That's a beautiful rendition of Jacob's Ladder. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dan, and welcome to Unity of Bloomington. Please stand and join us in singing our opening welcoming song. And then after the song, we're going to have a little bit of a mingle session. But when you hear the music for the second song, I know it's difficult, but please go back to your seat. I know, it is. We try. I am celebrating all that I am, all that I have. I am celebrating all I am becoming today. You are celebrating all that you are, all that you have. You are celebrating all you are becoming today. We are celebrating all that we are, all that we have. We are celebrating all we are becoming today. All we are becoming today. All we are becoming today. All right, take a minute and greet your neighbor. Spirit calls, come up higher. Spirit calls, sing, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher. Love lifts us high and sets us free. Spirit calls, come up higher. Spirit calls, sing, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher. Love lifts us high and sets us free. Sets us free. From all lack or limitation, sets us free. To realize who we can be. We are made in the image and the likeness of God. Spirit calls, so stand up and believe. Spirit calls, come up higher. Spirit calls, sing, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher. Love lifts us high and sets us free. Spirit calls, come up higher. Spirit calls, sing, I believe. Spirit calls, come up higher. Love lifts us high and sets us free. Lifts us high and sets us free. Lifts us high and sets us free.
Yeah. Good. And we're also connected with people coming together, opening their minds and hearts to infinite love and wisdom everywhere, whether it's in a mosque or a temple or a synagogue or a sacred circle. We declare and affirm and stand grounded in our oneness. And we are distinctive. We are Unity of Bloomington, a spiritual community dedicated to growth. And we have worked out some statements about ourselves as a community. Let's declare them together. We are Unity of Bloomington, heart-centered community,
seeking spiritual awakening
and transformation by deepening connections with God, self, and others. Our God is love. Our race is human. Our faith is oneness. And we are going through some stuff. We are in the midst of a transformation as a community. I'm here as a transitional presence leader to help with some things. Each one of us is going through some stuff, going through some sort of transition. Opening our minds and hearts to the presence and power of God helps. And so we're open to abundance, the limitlessness of good in the universe. God is the source of that good. And so we have an abundance affirmation, which is really kind of a statement about how we think about ourselves and how we think about the divine and how we think about that connection. Let's declare this together. Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister. Yes, powerful words. Our words are important because our thoughts are creative. And we're always creating because we're always thinking about something and we're always talking about something and we're stepping out and doing this and that. And we are in the process of creating our lives, consciously or unconsciously. We've been doing a series of inviting us to do the creative process consciously. We've been looking at the story of creation, the 7 days of creation, to get some ideas about how to go through that process. Today's day 6 on that process. Today's about exercising some power, exercising the power of words, of focused thought, affirmations, positive thinking. But there's a number of steps that came along the way before we get to affirmations. Okay? The creative process is flexible. It sometimes takes us on its own path, and we have to be willing to be surprised, willing to be inspired. And so this morning we have opportunities for people in the community to share ideas, inspirations. This morning I've invited a professional creator to share something of her process. So it's personal, it's flexible, and it's interesting. Okay, so Merridee LaMantia is going to share something about her creative visual arts process.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello. As a visual artist and dimensional designer, I do have a process that is wrapped around the way I work. I mean, I wasn't even aware of it, but over time, I noticed things like if I put on cello music, I could get centered in my thoughts. Well, because we've been working with the book, The Creative Life, I thought I would share an example of how this process has worked in a recent piece. the way my process works, I collect resources. I'm inspired by natural materials. And years ago, along our fence line, I realized it would look beautiful to have Siberian iris growing. Now, at the time, I had no idea this would be used in a project later, but I thought they were beautiful, and after the first summer, I realized there were stems that stayed, and then there were the seed pods remaining on them, and looking like this. And I started to harvest these. I wasn't sure why. The seeds come out after these pods dry. So that was like fascinating to me, and year after year, vase after vase, I had hundreds of these. And I will call that intuition, was creating possibilities, was what that was about. And I also, because who doesn't love beautiful papers, every now and then, if I was traveling, I'd, purchase a paper that was beautiful and inspired me. Didn't have a reason for it yet, but I knew on the horizon it was a possibility. Well, I had the faith that sometime I would use those to express my art. I have to say that when I was younger, in my 20s maybe, I thought everything was going to be clear in the future. I was like, what am I to do with this life I have? And the future is going to explain it, Well, lo and behold, I recognized the future begins in the present. So, this summer, one of our daughters was in town for a birthday, and her sister had been looking for a gift, found a shop in town, and came back excited to say there was a gallery space behind the shop. And so a friend of ours from Cincinnati, also an artist, she was in town at the same time, and we decided to apply online for a show. Now, here's my future meeting the present, because it was like, this was happening all kind of intuitively, spirit-led, I would say. And so after a trip to Atlanta, where our granddaughter was born, I came back and I thought, I gotta get a groove going, because this show, I had asked for April, and so that was on the horizon in the future. And I just wasn't sure how to get my juices going. A lot had gone on with the new baby, and so I started rolling paper beads. Another, just a resource. It was connecting my hands to my creativity. I didn't have a sense of where it was going, but the more I rolled, I had so many, I grabbed my Siberian iris stems and started sliding the beads onto these, and I had different kinds from my specialty papers. And pretty soon I had stem after stem of beads on these, filled up with beads. And I realized, and this is where my story brings us, Seb, can you show that? Okay, so what I'd like to say about this is, as I was rolling, as I was stringing these, I'll say, on these stems, I don't know if you can see it because the light's kind of bright, but beginning on the right are stems with a certain type of paper. And as I was lining these up, just like loving them, I thought, wait a minute, I could take a bead that doesn't match the first 4 stems from the right and put it on. Like if you look at that polka dot bead I don't know if you can see it, but let me point with one of my stems. See that bead? Okay, so what happened, this was like one of those spiritual moments of connection. I realized this was the beginning of understanding. I started looking at these stems of unified beads, thinking of them like a tribe, like that's a tribe of people or a neighborhood, or let's say an ethnic culture. And when you open up to meeting someone that's unlike you, like the polka dot bead, you start to understand what life is about. And I realized that we are like these, I'll say, villagers. When we open our hearts to meeting new people, having new experiences, we begin to understand we're all very similar. That's my spotlight.
Thank you so much. Yeah. There are a couple examples of those stems out on the table in the lobby, along with a little flyer about her show at that gallery. The process we've been talking about is, with the 7 days of creation, is first of all, you start inside. You start with involution. You start with the divine idea. You start with light, knowing that inspiration is possible, and then you declare that there is space, spaciousness. There's the activity of faith that creates room for something to happen, and then we let ideas percolate and take some form with imagination. Then we take some action steps and maybe get specific about what form that might take, and then open ourselves up to encounter opposition to our idea. We open ourselves up to deal with a whole bunch of different choices and having to discern and discriminate between possibilities. That takes us to day 6. And on the 6th day, it said that bodies were created, life was created, all sorts of animals. There's a lot of things that were listed on that 6th day. They were all physical, living things. And humanity was part of it, and humanity was given direction. Be in charge of all of this. You have dominion. Dominion's kind of a strong word, and it's been unfortunate that the way that thought has developed, because dominion has come to mean maybe wasting resources. Dominion means sovereignty, ultimate responsibility. So humanity was given ultimate responsibility for everything that was created. That's a big job. We have responsibility for everything below us on the consciousness scale. We have responsibility to remain connected with everything that is above us or beyond us on the consciousness scale. That puts us in the middle. That makes humanity a bridge between the spiritual and the material. And it's not just a static bridge that just sits there. It's a dynamic, creative energy. So human beings, each one of us, is a conduit for the creative activity of the divine. It's a conduit for healing life, for prospering love, for establishing peace and justice. That happens through the ones that have dominion, the ones that have a sense of power and responsibility. Here we are. We're that power. So we exercise that power by holding our thoughts, focusing our thoughts with emotional energy, and then forming those thoughts into powerful words, speaking those words with authority. Affirmations. You know, a lot of times in New Thought, we think, okay, affirmations, that's what I start with. This is what I want. I'm going to start with the affirmations. Now, affirmations come after inner inspiration, and then opening up preparation for the outer work. And then we get clear about what the words are that we want to support happening. And we speak them with conviction and with joy and with gratitude, and they have power, they work. So it's an invitation to have dominion, to take charge. First of all, take charge of our lives, of our bodies, of our finances, of our relationships, of our sense of direction. Take charge and exercise responsibility in our communities with other people for the sake of life and the earth. There's the old story in Unity history about Myrtle Fillmore, Charles' wife, co-founder of Unity, who was quarantined because she had tuberculosis. She recovered from that. She claimed because she spoke to her body. She talked to the cells and tissues. She praised them. She declared healing words of life to her body. You know, our bodies depend on our minds. Our bodies are kind of dumb. They do what our minds tell them. Our bodies respond to what we imagine. And so, anyway, one of her statements was, "You are filled with the vitality of perfect life." Now, that's a powerful affirmation. You are filled with the power, the perfection, the vitality of God's life. So she spoke that to the cells in her body. And they responded. Now maybe they said, one of the cells said to another, "Did you hear that? Who was that?" "Oh, I think that's Myrtle." "No, you don't believe in Myrtle, do you?" She's a mad. "No, that was Myrtle speaking to us." We are in that position of being inspired to organize something and to speak it into being. We have power over systems. We have power over our finances and relationships. We can speak to them with clarity, inspiration, and creative power. We can speak to money. We can speak to relationships. We can speak maybe to the weather, maybe to world events. We are a bridge between limitless possibilities and what is being established. We have that power. Jesus is an example of someone living at a fully realized human level, exercising creative power. So he had creative power to make things happen with the weather, with walking, with water, with wine, with healing people, with transforming situations. Power to make things happen. Now that's one kind of power. Power over. Power to shape events and activities. There's another kind of power that he demonstrated. The relational power. The power to be present and conscious with what's going on. To be receptive and compassionate and caring and open. That's a different kind of power. That's relational. That's power with. Power with is like the Divine Mother. Power over is like Father God. You know, we often have that phrase, Father, Mother, God, kind of two different aspects of the divine. One of them is expressive. One of them has a limitless flow of energy going out into the world in many different ways. And the other one, the divine Mother God, the feminine aspect of the divine, says, I got you. I'm holding you. I am embracing everything that's happening, radically receptive to everything. So, power over and power with. And so, on the sixth day, it says that God said, let us create humanity in our image and in our image and likeness, and let them have dominion over all life. Us. Who's that? Who's us? Some people said it were alien exobiologists that created humanity. Okay? Us. Some psychologists might say, well, that represents all of the different sides of our personality. Internal family systems is real popular now, recognizing that we have a lot of characters within us. Well, let us create them in our image and likeness. It created them male and female. Polarity. That polarity was present right in the first day. There was light and there was darkness. There was spaciousness and then there was chaos. There was dry land and there was water. There were birds in the air and fish in the ocean, thoughts and intuition. And there were male and female. So it seems that this part of existence, the part that we're connected to, has two sides. Now, maybe if humanity had been evolved on a planet that had always was always in the sun, like Mercury, or Uranus, whose axis points at the sun, that it doesn't have day and night. Well, we have day and night, so we have light and dark, we have male and female. Father, Mother, God. Expressive and receptive. Think about that. It's like a circular flow. A lot of times, the spiritual journey is defined as building a stairway, climbing a ladder to heaven, climbing Jacob's ladder. It just so happens that Carol played that today. Okay? That the spiritual path is to ascend, be saved, get off the wheel of birth and rebirth. That's kind of like building an expressive model that carries us away. Well, there's also the energy that comes down into the earth, the life that is brought into being, the descent of the Holy Spirit into us. And so those two spiritual movements fit together into a circular pattern, a continuous movement of rising and falling, expanding and contracting. So, does that mean that the one presence and one power of absolute goodness in the universe and in our lives is really two? No, there's a oneness that embraces the diversity. So is God two? How about three? There's a lot of traditions about a trinity within the divine and a movement between the three poles. There's even there are circles that describe the activity of the divine. It might be argued that there are 10,000 expressions of the divine, like there are in Hinduism. The 10,000 names of God. Our job is to recognize, embrace, and participate in that polarity coming together. Because there's a split within us. We identify as masculine or feminine. That's appropriate. It's important. But there's a split in our souls that sometimes excludes one. You know, there's a difference between the warriors and the nurturers. Yeah, that had survival value for humanity. A split between thinkers and feelers. Well, not sure how important that is. It's not very balanced. Balance is what's important. And incorporating every part of ourselves and incorporating the masculine and the feminine within ourselves in a sense of oneness. In the same way that we think of Father, Mother, God as one presence and one power, the masculine and feminine within us as one presence and one power within us. Now, there's this ancient myth about, from ancient Greece and from Asia, about back in the beginning, in the creation, our souls were torn apart, were split. And human beings have been searching for their lost part ever since. They've been looking for their soulmate. They've been looking for the person that would come in and match all of the different strange parts, torn parts, and make ourselves whole. There are people that we feel remarkably connected with. Okay? But the purpose, the job of being made whole is ours. It's an internal job to find that missing parts of our souls within ourselves and integrate them and bring them into being as individuals and as humanity and as a culture. We live in an excessively masculine culture. really active, build, control, dominate. Women, if the women's movement, have gotten better. They've had opportunities to step into that system. Women have taken the opportunity to recognize that they have executive energy within them and can function in a masculine culture and system. There are more and more women in charge of nations and in political positions. That could only help balance the way things are. Seems that we men are lagging a little bit behind in getting in touch with the more compassionate and caring side of ourselves. We have it within ourselves, but we need permission and some examples of doing that. Jesus was the example of that kind of balance. It was said, one of the phrases in Scripture was, there were people standing around watching what Jesus was doing. And one of the comments that they made is, who does he think he is? You hear what he's saying? He's saying forgiveness. He's saying to demons, be gone. He acts as if he has some kind of authority. Yeah. He did, and we do. He was a nicely integrated, balanced human being. And a balance of masculine and feminine, of the polarities. Wholeness. So, it's not easy. It's not complicated. But, being in a culture that has a domination kind of culture that wastes resources, that enslaves people, a culture that says, you're wrong, our way is right, that's changing. Needs to change inside each one of us first. So, a balance of polarities. What does that look like? It might look like a triangle. There's a lot of symbols of the circles. The yin-yang, the dark side and the light side, all embraced in a circle. The Buddhist eight-spoked wheel of Buddhism. The sacred circles. So there's a lot of symbology about integration. Symbology is important. One thing that was mentioned whenever the renovation committee was meeting and meeting with an architect, I said, what are we going to put up in the front here? When you walk in, you want to see something, you want to feel something, you want to have a sense of what this means. Put that next slide up there. So here's a slide that Merridee made. She photoshopped to make a vertical element next to this one. It's just an idea. It's like, well, that might light and dark, that together maybe they make a sense of oneness. That might work here. That's all still in process. That's unfolding. We're still gathering pieces of paper and stems to see how they're all going to go together. Okay? Put the next slide, yeah. We're the bridge. So, keep your heart in heaven and your hands on the earth. Virginia Woolf, in one of her books, said, begin to think with the heart and to love with the mind. So that's about integrating. That's about balance. That's about, as many spiritual traditions say, get beyond the idea of me and mine and the ego, and maybe think about we and us instead. In that balance, there is power, creative power, affirmative power. So we're going to spend a little time in meditation, inviting a balance, entering into a quietness where we might feel a sense of oneness. And then out of that sense of oneness, after a few minutes in quiet, to create an affirmation. Form ideas into words that you would hold in your mind. It might be an affirmation about the project that you've been working on. It might be about your body. It might be about your finances, somebody else's body or finances. It might be about something you heard on the news. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, when asked, what do you people do there? He said, we enter the silence and affirm the truth. And so we're going to do that now. We're going to enter the silence. We're going to sing a chant. Award-winning chant called Heart of the Mother. One with the heart of the mother, one with the heart of God. Mother, Father, God. Okay? And so in that polarity, we find an embracing oneness. Okay.
I am one with the heart of the mother. I am one with the heart of love. I am one with the heart of the Father. I am one with God.
Mother love, Father God. Mother love, Father God. Power with, power over. Receptivity, expressiveness. Feel that polarity within you. Invite every element of your being to come in. Come into a sacred circle within you. Inner, outer, upper, lower. Moving in, moving out. Let your breath help this process. Notice the sensation of receiving with each inhalation and with expressing with an exhalation. Taking in and sending out. Let your breath move on its own. In a smooth, circular flow. Inner and outer. Balanced. Integrated. Oneness. You might connect with your breath. I am one. I am one. Notice your breath. Listen to what it might say. Feel it as a representation of the wholeness within you. Be with that wholeness. Be one. Be one. In the silence, in the quietness, the pure being of your soul. From this place of inner wholeness, you have authority. You may speak the words of truth with authority. Say to yourself, I am alive. I am alive. You might add healing. I am strong. I am loving. am loving. There's a flow of goodness that comes through you that is prosperity. In your loving, there is order and justice. Is there someone for whom you would pray? Affirm for them what they need and the truth of who they are. Is there a particular need you have or project that you're working on? What would you say about it? What word of truth would you declare for that? And for this community, abundance. Unity of Bloomington is abundant. For a larger community, for our country, for our planet. All is truly well. All is truly well. Complete. And we are complete. We are complete.
Expressing the divine as I travel down the road. I am complete. I am whole. I celebrate the journey of life. I am complete. I am whole. Expressing the divine as I travel down the road. I am complete. I am whole. I celebrate the journey of life. I am complete. I am whole. Expressing the divine as I travel down the road. I am complete. I am whole. I celebrate the journey of life. I celebrate the journey of life.
We celebrate the journey of life. It's almost time to go into the next phase of this morning. But we've come to the point in the service where we bless what we are. We bless what we have. We bless what we do. We bless what we give. There's one Unity church that I worked at that had the tradition of, at the love offering time, the minister would tell a joke. He would say, because nobody likes that part of the service, and so a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Well, Giving is what we are. We're here to be conduits of goodness. And so, instead of telling a joke, I'm going to tell some spiritual principle about being open to receive and open to share. Okay? So, if you're a newcomer, there's a newcomer sheet there that has first impressions. It would be appreciated if you did that. There are prayer request cards that you can put in the offering bags when they come back. Some people give gifts in support of Unity of Bloomington once a month or once a quarter. Some people text, they give electronically, maybe with the text to give form. Where are the bags? Okay. So we're going to do something different with the bags today. Instead of the ushers coming around and sticking it in front of you, we're going to pass them. Everybody's going to get a chance to touch the bag. You put a blessing in the bag. Put a thought of gratitude, of grace, of generosity, of generativity in the bag. Bless that, along with any other papers that you might have. Now, if you're a newcomer here, you're our guest. So we're going to do a couple different offering blessings today. Okay? So this is an affirmation of abundance. This is an affirmation about the nature of reality, that there is a limitless flow available. There is no ultimate scarcity, no matter what classical economists say. Okay? So let's declare this together. I am an abundant being, living in an abundant universe. I'm not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my good. I always have something to give, and I give it. I expect the best. I give my best. And now I attract the best in every experience. Now, in alignment with that consciousness. Next slide, Seb. With generosity and grace in alignment with the ultimate nature of reality, let's declare this blessing for everything that we give in all of the ways in our lives. Together, I give as the source of good, with generosity and grace. Now look at that. Give as the source of good. Give as the divine energy that you are. Next slide. Oh, we already said this. But this is about who we are. A heart-centered community, awakening, transforming, making a difference. I heard this week that someone questioned whether or not Unity of Bloomington makes a difference. It does. It makes a difference in our lives. It makes a difference in the universe. It's important. It's worthy of support. That's what generativity means. You support something that's worthy. And so, next slide. We're going to give with generativity and gratitude. We give to the source of good, and the source. We give to something that's generating good in the world. We give to something that has generated source good within us. Let's declare this together. I give to the source of good with generativity and gratitude. So, I guess we should start with the bags up front. Take them and pass them.
I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed, everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Flowing like the river of peace, I am nature's wandering child. Love cannot be added to me. I am made complete in the divine. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. There's magic in every day, like a beautiful song. As I'm choosing my way, there's a voice inside to guide me along. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. I am spirit-led, spirit-fed. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led. Everywhere and always I am spirit-led.
Thank you for your support of Unity Bloomington. I dedicate your gifts given to this community to do the work of unconditional love, universal truth, and absolute goodness. That's a pretty neat smoky effect you have on there, Seb. Thank you. Okay, today, after the service, first of all, there's a potluck. It was really hard before the service to not start eating it. Okay, there's some really good things there. Okay, and then after the potluck, we're going to be talking about the history of this community, what needs to be massaged a little bit, what needs to be claimed and celebrated in going forward and getting clear about what's for tomorrow. So it's an interesting, fun, participatory experience. So stay for the food, stay for listening to what I put up on my storyboard over there. You might take a look at the things up there. There are different eras there. They go chronologically from left to right. Okay, and next Sunday, just in technicality, a really brief membership meeting. The only thing we're allowed to vote on at this membership meeting is one thing, the thing that's been publicized in advance, and that's approval of the revised bylaws for this community. They've been revised according to the recommendations from Unity Worldwide Ministry. We might discuss other things, but the only thing that's official business is approve the bylaws, and that's not going to take long. And now we have our closing. Who's us? Think about who's not here. Think about who needs a prayer. Think about what we can hold, who and what we can hold in our hearts in the compassionate, all-embracing love of the mother. We hold all of them all of that in our hearts. And we speak with the authority of God the Father, an expressive truth of these words that we declare together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's stand, form a circle, and sing, "Let There Be Peace on Earth." Okay? So, come down here for the circle.